Remember me? Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here and that you stuck with me through my accidental hiatus. I haven't posted since September 22nd, I believe, and the reason being is just, I don't know, I just didn't feel like it, I guess. It was just every single time I thought about it, I just didn't want to think about it. But I'm here, I'm back, and expect some videos from me this month, all right? I'm here to do my November wrap-up, 15 books I read in November. Most of them are rereads, and I hope that I'm coherent because I also have had a long day. I got back from work at like 3 o'clock and then went grocery shopping, and now I'm here doing this. So my brain might be mush, but at least I'm doing it. At least I'm doing it. All right, here we are. It's so goddamn loud in Shepherdstown. In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This is one of my favorite books. It is a reread. This is the second time I'm reading it. I found this at a book sale that was out in town recently, and it was only $2. And I've been wanting a copy of this book because the first time I read it, it was on Scribd. This book is a memoir about an abusive relationship that Carmen found herself in with this woman who is just vicious. And this is marketed as a horror, and yeah, it's a very interesting way of writing a memoir. It's very like genre bending, and it is intriguing but horrific and sad. It's scary how real it all is and how this isn't an isolated event. This domestic abuse between spouses, especially like lesbian spouses, like she talks all about how like when two women are together, people don't take abuse as seriously. There needs to be more awareness of the abuse that goes on. I'm talking about it like everybody hasn't already freaking read it or heard of it. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. If it's been on your TBR forever and for some reason you still haven't picked it up, go do it now. It's very fast to get through, but at the same time, kind of hard, so you might have to take some pauses because there is just some things that are tough and rough, and I hated reading them. The next book I read was the very opposite of a 5-star, which, yeah, you guessed it, that means it's a 1-star. And although it was a highly anticipated read for me, it did not live up to its expectations. This is a story about heyyyy, who has had a significant other who died 5 years ago when the story takes place. And it talks about how she's trying to get herself out there. And it starts off with a sex scene. She's just like fucking some guy. And then it moves on to this guy who she fucks friend, and then they start talking and kind of having a thing going, and then it gets to the actual love interest, which I'm not going to tell you who that is because I feel like that might be slightly spoilery because I didn't know what to expect when I started reading it, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't. But it was less than mediocre. The characters were one-dimensional. I've ranted so many times to Sam about this and how much it sucked. The only good thing about it is the title, apparently a song. I don't recommend this book. I'm sorry, I don't. So that's not what we're here for. I will be talking about this probably more. I also forgot to say that I have a vlog coming out like where I read a bunch of things in November, and that's what this is a wrap-up of. And so you'll see a lot more of my fresher thoughts when reading this, and also I will be talking about this in my worst books of 2022 video. So there you will get a full in-depth rant about this one because I got some thoughts. The next book that I read was A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. I absolutely love that book. It's the sequel to A Song for the Wild Bill. I loved the first one. I gave that 5 stars. I wasn't expecting to love it so much. This one I gave a 4-star, but it was still completely enjoyable. Basically, we follow Mosscap, a robot, and sibling Dex, a monk, and they have been traveling together. They met each other because Dex was going on an adventure and Mosscap happened to be in a place where Dex was, and they were the first human and robot to meet in like 200 or so years. So this second one, we see Mosscap and Dex's relationship kind of expand, and Mosscap is always asking, what is it that humans need? And Dex is like, that's a question that's impossible to answer. You're never going to get an answer for that. But Mosscap keeps on going and going with the question. This book is so comfy and cozy, but at the same time, it really makes you think. Also, it's a novella, so it took me like one day to read it. Most people have read this series, I think. It's a pretty popular one, and people love it, and I do too. I was not expecting to like it. Okay, I gotta check out more Becky Chambers. Okay, and then the next 4, I'm just gonna kind of count as one, but I read the first 4 Mob Psychos. 3 of them are a reread, and then I reread these so that I could get caught up and read this one. The 4th and 5th one, it was a birthday present that Sam got me. Basically, these follow Mob, who is a kid in middle school who barely shows any emotion but is super, super powerful. He is supernatural power. But he does not want to use his power on people or really ever. Like, that's not his bag at all. But then his brother has always wanted to have the powers that he has. And throughout the series, some things happen concerning his brother. I'm not going to say too much. It's a fun little story that I can't get enough of, and I love Mob as a character, and overall it's really funny. This has me laughing out loud all the freaking time. Like, one is a really this the mangaka's name. He's really funny. I really want to read One Punch Man also by him, and my boyfriend has read that and he says it's hilarious. Like, he'll be laughing out loud sometimes, and he says that it's really funny, and it's like a sense of humor that's kind of unmatched, I can't lie. Like, nothing else has ever made me laugh out loud like that. So, kudos.
What you most about this film?
Well, I think I'm looking forward to cracking up. I hope I can, totally crack up. So, I haven't, totally cracked up in a long time.
The next book that I've read is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. This is my 3rd time reading it now, and it's absolutely one of my favorite fucking books. What can I say except for that? About Gilda, who has this crippling anxiety about how everybody will someday be dead. She reoccurringly talks about her rabbit who she saw die. She can't get a grasp of how it is just the nature of living things to die. I relate to that heavily. I also to have anxieties of such thing. I feel like it's a pretty common thing to have anxieties of, and this made me feel seen so much. When people ask me, why is this your favorite book, or why is this one of your favorite books, it's just vibes, man. The next book I read, it was also a very highly anticipated book. It was The Lightness by Emily Temple, and I ended up giving it a 2-star. I gotta say, I don't really remember that much about it, except for that it's these girls at a Buddhist camp, and they want to learn how to levitate. They want to learn how to be enlightened. One girl, the main character, she's there for secondary reasons. Well, primary reason is that she's looking for her dad. The secondary at this point is that she found herself in this group of girls who are kind of mean and the popular ones. It was compared to an Altessa Moshfegh novel. If you are picking this up because it says Altessa Moshfegh in the blurb, don't. Because that's the reason I picked it up. And it said cult. Two trigger words for me. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It is so boring and nothing happens, basically, is my final say. I was waiting so long for something to happen. It got kind of interesting and then dead. I don't know. Dinosaurs by Lydia Millette, I gave 3-star. I really couldn't tell you what this is about, I feel like. Because, okay, when I read it all in one sitting. literally just to read something because I was in a reading mood, but I didn't know what to read, and so I just found something that had an audiobook and an ebook. And I, right after like finishing it, I was like, okay, that was pretty good. And I kept seeing scenes in my head. The day after, like, nothing. Mind empty. I haven't thought about it since. And I don't care to, quite honestly. All's Well was my next book by Mona Awad. I absolutely love this book. Even though this is a 4-star book for me and also a reread. What can I say except for I love it? It's about a teacher named Miranda, who she's also like the theater director, and she wants to put on the play All's Well That Ends Well by Shakespeare, but her group wants to put on Macbeth. Another thing is Miranda has this like chronic pain problem, but nobody really knows what's going on. Like none of the professionals could really diagnose her or help her. And so it's just like this horrid thing, and it's exhausting to read for a bit there because of all the pain that she's in and all the like denial from doctors all the time. And then all of a sudden that pain stops and some things go down, and we never really get answers, I've got to say that, but we get a fun little story, that's for sure. I love the ride that this book takes me on every time. I can't, like, I remember reading this for the first time. This is actually kind of funny because I was in the doctor's office, like sitting in the doctor's office when I first started reading this, when she was talking a lot about doctor's appointments and stuff, which that was just kind of fun. Overall, like the atmosphere, because I love a gritty atmosphere. It's why Otessa Moshfegh is one of my favorite authors, because she's always going to give me that, okay? And this also delivered so well. I like this book significantly more than I like Bunny. That's another fun little fact about me, because I feel like everybody's favorite Mona Awad is always Bunny. This one's my favorite. Okay. I wish I did know more about the play All's Well That Ends Well. I don't really know shit about it, but maybe one day I will read it and like kind of compare and contrast a little bit. No time soon though, so. Like, I remember finishing this book and still, like, having, like, I felt like I needed to scrub my brain clean still. And I love when a book can make me feel that way. Just, like, something like, well, that just happened. I don't know, like, just, like, and this was also, like, considered horror. It was on the Goodreads, like, awards thing, and it was in the category of horror, which is interesting. But I didn't get that the first time. The first time I read it, I was like, I won't call that horror. But reading it again, I was like, okay, wait, I get it now. All right, I see that. So there's that. The next book that I read, Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. Another one of my favorite books. Another reread. This is my second time reading it. 5 stars. Just a book about a mother turning into a dog because of the stress that motherhood puts on her. And she talks about how she can't really live her dreams as what she wanted to be an artist and be a professional in that, but then her son came along and the rest is history. Her husband gets to go, like, he's barely ever home. He travels for work, and we see she lives such the opposite life, and how that kind of takes her down a road of not doing well. And it's an adventure, it's a ride to read, and I'm here for that. I'm here for every single second. This is another one that's kind of like gritty. I would describe it as that. So it really stays on your brain. It really stays there. And I absolutely love it. I wish I could read this book for the first time over again. I always say that, but it's true. I wish I had that experience again with this one. So if you are reading it for the first time, you're a lucky bastard, and I wish I was you. The next book I read was The Girl Aquarium by Jen Campbell. I gave this a 4.5 star. This is a poetry collection that is so beautiful. Some of them I didn't completely understand, and like when there was like some that were like in this accent, and honestly I can't lie to you, it was hard for me to read. I didn't really understand what it was saying. But the ones that I did know, I was shook. There's like I highlighted like the titles. It was all on script, but like I highlighted the title. I was like, beautiful, amazing, like show-stopping works of art right here. And I wish I could write like Jen Campbell. I do. I want her to write more poetry. I think this is her only poetry book, but she won an award for this. The last book that I read is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, about an autistic young boy who found his neighbor's dog dead and wants to solve the mystery behind that, but for some reason his father is screaming and yelling at him to not figure out the mystery and just let it alone. And he's wondering why, and at the same time not really letting it alone. And so he figures out some other things. He doesn't know who killed the dog right away, but he does know a lot of other things that his father had been covering the truth of. And these are all revealed in here, making it a very interesting story. And, you know, nothing like the blurb says it is. Like, the blurb is like, this is a murder mystery type vibe or something like that, but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. I think I gave this 3 stars. Did I say that already? I don't really know. 3 or 4. I also got this at the same place I got in the dream house. This bitch is out here playing copyrighted music. Like, do you think I have fucking time for that shit? Nah. Okay. That was all. Thank you for watching the video. I'm so sorry that was way more boring than I thought it was gonna be, because like I was going to like kind of have some scripted out things in my head to make it a little bit more entertaining, and then I was like, fuck it, no. And then I decided to record, and it's probably one of the most boring things you've ever fucking seen in your life, and I'm sorry for that. Hopefully my editing will make it better. I don't think anybody deserves to watch boring YouTube videos, okay? All right, that's where I stand. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. See ya on the flip side.